Before we embark on this journey together, a content warning is in order. TENDRIL is not suitable for all audiences. The contents of this horror podcast may include, and is not limited to, explicit language, body horror, violence, gore, lapses in reality, raw depictions of abuse and mental illness, and language from various characters that could be triggering. While we have characters who use language that could be upsetting to some parties, we do actively portray these characters in a negative light and do not condone any discrimination or usage of slurs in real life. Now that that's out of the way, let's begin.
The meteors have a story to tell. Deep space is furious. A small red-ringed moon hurtles around its planet on the outer edge of the galaxy's intermediary sector. Zingar X, decorated with luscious hot springs, craggy mountains, volatile lava plumes, and a real heck of a view of the chaotic, otherwise barren system it calls home. The year is 2287, and the Milky Way galaxy is no longer a lonely one. The perils of first contact have faded into a mere blip on the chronoglyph, and aliens of all levels of slime viscosity gather on Zingar X for one purpose alone: touristry. This little rock plays host to the finest resort for thrill seekers this side of the Bumbangus Nebula. It is owned by the mega-corporation Procyon Planetary Properties, one of the largest real estate conglomerates in existence and a household name galactically. You see, there are no rulers in the Milky Way. There has never been a fascist empire enslaving and conquering dozens of systems. No deadly AI singularity. The galaxy now deals in real estate as its largest form of currency. Planets are bought, sold, and bartered in lieu of any large-scale wars. So, here on the formerly inhospitable Zingar X, PPP's proprietary shrewdness has transformed the moon into a massive luxury lodge spanning its entire surface. Families, couples, and solo adventure junkies shell out countless credits for the adrenaline-pumping experiences of a lifetime. Geyser jockeys can freestyle from jet to jet. Deep magnet bungee jumping lets you plummet to the moon's bubbling core. There's drone gliding through the storm canyons, lava flow surfing, and of course, blast boarding, the absurdly dangerous act of hoverboarding down an erupting volcano. This is the poison of choice for Thrush Meeblix, who comes back year after year for his daredevil fix. Smoke coughs and belches as Thrush carves out another hairpin turn. The obsidian sprays, and he hunkers down on the board, his spindly, fuzzy Spacnarian limbs permitting him a supernaturally deep crouch, just as a chunk of pumice whizzes over his head. Thrush then leaps, does a 180 kickflip, and lands on the jagged railing for a truly sick grind. Spacnarians are built for this sort of thing. Resembling lemurs with large eyes and long legs, they are usually found vine-swinging through the treetop canopies of their homeworld. But for Thrush, the peaceful planet of Spacnar doesn't cut it.
Nothing more fun to piss off than a mountain!
One more insane barrel roll and Thrush is thundering toward what should be the end of the course. It's no bunny slope. This is the expert hill, ending at an 85-degree plunge. But Thrush doesn't ease up. His hoverboard protests.
You may want to decrease your boost quotient.
The latest model from Warp Sport Tech, this board is a sleek silver blue and has had a few of Thrush's own personal modifications added.
Save it, Quentin! This ride's not over!
QN10! I am QN10!
That is not a name! Not for my bro!
I am here for your safety and course correction purposes only!
It's all wavy, bro! I still feel the love!
I would argue further, but we are rapidly approaching the event horizon for your dismount!
Thrush sees the light force barrier shimmering into being at the edge of the landing zone.
No worries, Quentin. I'm grokking it off-road.
Recalculating. What?
I loaded a new program for you. Fresh from my main man, Dorsey.
I have detected an illegal software file, Jericho.exe,
An electromagnetic pulse surges from the hoverboard and ripples against the barrier. It comes tumbling down just as Thrush rips through at maximum velocity, whooping like a tribal kuarbon. He zooms into an untamed expanse, a molten, quaking pit, a tectonic catastrophe. Outside the shields, Zingar X is terraforming itself from core to crust.
My programming requires me to warn you that you are unsafe here.
Unfortunately, QN10's programming does not actually allow it to change course.
You have ventured out of the protected zone and into an area where the atmosphere is thinner than recommended for your species.
Relax, I'm just ganking a free sample of what's to come. Dorsey hacked into the resort's private files. They're developing here next.
Illustrating the lack of danger, Thrush whips effortlessly around a naturally occurring loop-de-loop. And after a few minutes of unharmed riding, QN10 pipes down. After all, Thrush always makes it out in one piece. Just then, a flash of green among the stars catches one of Thrush's 4 eyes. At first he thinks he might be seeing things, but the light grows brighter, bigger. Streaks begin extending longer and longer above the speck, which is now several specks. QN10 jerks nervously.
I detect a meteor shower. This is precisely what I wanted to avoid.
Just watch the light show, Metal Bro. It's way out there, opposite trajectory.
Indeed, the space rocks are traveling further away, destined to strike the ground a good 100 meters from here. And then they turn. The meteors swivel a full 90 degrees.
No way.
Yes way, the meteors say. They turn again, and again. As if honing in on his precise location, they zig, zag, zig until they are directly on target.
Punch it, Quentin!
Recalculating!
The hoverboard dutifully pumps out its nitrous tank, rocketing back toward the safe zone, but every time Thrush takes a panicked glance back over his shoulder, the meteors are closing in. He fails to notice a break in the even lava flow, whacking against a rock, twirling end over end, and wiping out for the first time in 8 months. For a moment, Thrush is relieved he didn't land in open lava. Then he scrambles to his feet. QN10 is nowhere to be found, and he has lost sight of the meteors. Are they gone? Is he safe? Nope. A head-sized meteor hurtles into Thrush's right elbow, instantly shattering his hollow bones and pinning him to the ground. His mesh-armored sleeve catches fire. He can see the rock up close now. It is a mottled olive green, riddled with puckered holes that ooze a neon gelatinous fluid. But Thrush is focused only on survival. It could have been worse. An arm can be mended if he can just reach over and... Another wallops him in the other shoulder. This one is bigger, heavier, and his other arm catches fire. Escape is now nearly hopeless, but he struggles for another moment before the inevitable. Of the 2 meteors that total his legs, the final meteor bears down toward his head. Thrush knows where he stands.
Comlink, please send a message.
Recording now.
Mom, I know we haven't talked much all these years, but I just want you to know. I hope I made you proud with my sick and nasty stunts.
But the rock comes to a dead stop, suspended a breath away from his helmet visor. Thrush stares helplessly, mesmerized by the thing that seems to have inexplicably spared him. It rotates for a moment. It's tranquil, almost
Radical.
A 10-inch lime green spike hammers straight down from the meteor's ghastly orifice, punching through the visor and impaling his brain from cortex to stem. For Thrush Meeblix, the rest is static. This is Tendril, the Banshee Chronicles. Episode 1. Welcome to the Scream Team. Written by Kaitlyn Radel and Ryan Borses.
Okay. It's go time.
Ensign Cade Floodry has been summoned to his first mission in the terrible entities of the Night Division for Rescue, Investigation, and Lockdown, more commonly known as TENDRIL.
It's okay to be a little nervous.
He is extremely nervous. He's been training to work with his new team for a few weeks now. As far as he knows, the other 2 crew members have far more experience. He enters the elevator down to the ship docks and realizes he is sharing this ride with a green, tentacled alien he's only met once before, Captain Kronist Loknu. This creature is mostly tentacles. His face is humanoid despite the smaller tentacles sprouting from around his mouth, and the bulbous head that bulges backward. He's wearing a dark purple dress uniform coat, sporting the official crest of Tendril, a golden pin that depicts a tentacle lovingly cradling the image of Earth. From his sleeves sprout 2 or 3 tentacles each, and beneath the waist he wears nothing, because he is supported entirely by, you guessed it, more tentacles. Cade's been told that his captain isn't any alien known to the galaxy, the last of his kind. He's been told that it would be rude to refer to him as anything other than his name.
Captain Loknu, you look, normal?
Good morning, Ensign Floodry.
Oh, you can just call me Cade. So, big mission, huh? I'm feeling prepared. Super prepared.
It should be pretty routine, actually. We usually go down to the surface in our civvies, perform some recon, and then we'll work out a plan from there. The lieutenant and I have done this dozens of times, so don't worry about it, newbie.
As the elevator comes to a stop, Cade wonders what happened to the previous 3rd member of the team. He shuffles his feet nervously.
I just can't help but worry that I'm going to mess something up.
Definitely don't. Just stick to orders.
Cade follows Kronist to the closest dock, where the Banshee awaits. It's a small trapezoidal ship with pincer-like protrusions in the front.
She's a military-grade ship, but Tendril has our ships uniquely designed for each crew. The Banshee has the best comms array in the fleet, designed to intercept distress calls. It has some special features you'll probably like. My favorite is the screen, which jams enemy ships to cut them off from reinforcements and throw off their targeting. She can house about 3 people comfortably, so welcome home.
Wait, we live on the ship? I feel like I didn't really pack.
That's alright. Everything you'll need for the mission should already be on board.
As they enter the hatch, Kronist becomes visibly more at home.
So, I hear you're quite the hacker. The Admiral told me that you were giving her some trouble poking into classified information.
Well, you know, the government is hiding all this stuff about demons, genies, Bakeneko.
Okay.
I just knew Tendril would be the motherlode. The people have got to know.
But they shouldn't.
Which is what the Admiral said, but I gotta know. I've been looking for a job that would get me off-world for a long time. She thought my skills were useful, and Tendril seemed like a good fit.
I hope she's right. It's not often we get someone fresh with your skill set, especially someone who's so willing to work with the paranormal.
Oh, yeah. Have you actually ever...
What?
Seen a ghost?
Yeah, and Area 52 exists too. Aliens are real, Cade. When we're through with you, you'll believe in a lot more than ghosts and conspiracy theories.
They've reached the control hub of the ship. Kronist lifts a wriggling wrist to his mouth and speaks into his comm watch.
Lieutenant Switch, please report to the bridge.
Only a few seconds pass before the door on the other side of the room slides open. An androgynous figure steps through. Lieutenant Switch, the android pilot of the Banshee, looks nearly human despite her gray skin and arms mottled with cybernetics. Her white hair is short and cut in a blunt bob. She wears a sleeveless, tattered hoodie and jeans, and her eyes glow blue. Switch grins wolfishly.
Look alive, fresh meat.
She tosses Cade an object, which he nearly drops.
GAC standard Horus X-84 blaster pistol. It won't bust ghosts on its own, but the plasma slugs really tear up the bad guys.
Oh, thanks. I'll just set this to stun.
Do you want to die?
No. I'm just more of a stun than a kill. kind of guy.
The things we meet, you'll want to kill. Kronist, is this guy for real?
Incoming transmission from Fleet Admiral Deulendrahbl. Shall I answer, Captain?
Who's that?
You weren't told? That's Llorona, our onboard AI. She's a priceless font of information and conversation, even though she glitches from time to time. Patch the Admiral in, Llorona, and prepare the ship for takeoff while you're at it.
A clear holographic image sputters to life in the center of the room. Admiral Deulendrahbl looks like a walking nightmare. Much of her body is shrouded in crackling black storm clouds, obscuring tentacles and sharp edges all the way down her slender figure. Enormous bat-like wings protrude from her back, and she is currently gnawing on the head of a gargantuan rat with her terrifying set of fangs. Cade shivers bodily despite having already met her 3 times prior. She's a war hero, he reminds himself. Plus, she doesn't eat brain juice anymore. At least, not from sentient creatures.
Ensign Floodry, it's good to see you settling in nicely. I hope you're all ready for an interesting first mission as a team. We have received reports of a disconcerting incident in the intermediary sector.
As she speaks, a hologram of the moon in question appears, then zooms in to show a streak in its atmosphere.
I'm sure you've all heard of Zengar X, that tourist trap of a moon in System 26B. From what we've heard, a Spagnerian guest was pummeled to death by a cluster of seemingly sentient meteors. This sort of thing certainly falls under our jurisdiction. I want you to investigate and do what you must to contain the problem.
Don't you know anything else about the threat?
I like this kid.
Yeah, hope she doesn't kill him.
The storm clouds surrounding Deulendrahbl crackle with a new fervor, lighting her face with a ghastly glow as she rises imposingly in the hologram.
I know what I know, recruit. And you know better than to speak out of turn.
Suddenly, it dawns on Cade exactly what might have happened to the last recruit.
Unfortunately, no. But there is one thing you should know. Zingar X is owned by Procyon Planetary Properties. As our 2 veterans know, PPP is notorious for resisting our investigations on their property. Please deal with their representatives however you must. The manager of the resort, Gorgis Kiyudi, is an old acquaintance of mine and should be cooperative. The rest, you will have to improvise. Stay safe and best of luck.
The hologram shuts off, leaving the crew alone in the room. There's a moment of silence.
How are you guys so calm? That's all the debriefing we get?
Usually.
The Banshee is ready for takeoff.
Already? What about, like, a day or a week to research? I mean, intentionally evil space rocks? What is that?
Like I said, more than ghosts. To your stations, crew.
As the Banshee approaches Zengar X, the crew readies themselves near the exit hatch. They've changed into their closest approximations of tourist clothing, weapons strapped inconspicuously underneath loud Hawaiian shirts. But something is not quite right.
It appears that Zingar X has not ceased resort activity. It still appears to be quite alive with guests.
Sentient meteors killing people, and they can't be bothered to shut the place down for an investigation. Typical.
Dock the ship normally and we'll deal with it on the surface.
Aye aye, Captain. A request to dock was granted. Please stand by.
The ship carefully maneuvers to a stop, and the exit hatch hisses open. On the other side of the door, the Banshee squad is greeted by 2 heavily armed guards.
Gorgis Kiyudi will see you in his office.
Lead the way.
Are we always greeted this warmly?
No, only PPP shells out for so much fanfare.
The trip to Kiyudi's office is a short one. The guards lead the Banshee squad into a dark, dimly lit side hallway. They are regaled with PPP employee posters lining the walls with pseudo-inspirational quotes such as, "Dream small, it's your only hope for success." When they reach the office, Gorgis Kiyudi is standing by his lava rock desk. He is a Gludlian, a hulking, tusked, brownish-orange fellow stuffed into a suit. In front of him levitates a formidable figure, what appears to be a floating torso in an 80s power blazer. The figure is leaning over him and murmuring something clearly upsetting. Gorgis seems relieved to see the squad.
You must be the Galactic Anthropoid Commonwealth representatives.
The blazer whips around. It becomes clear that this is a Chuchori, a highly intelligent, tiny fish race that have made themselves prevalent throughout the galaxy despite their tight lips when it comes to their own society. Instead of joining the Galactic Anthropoid Commonwealth, the race has nonetheless made themselves known throughout the galaxy for their ambition and wit. This Chuchori hovers angrily in a glass fishbowl, the functional head of her robotic body.
Ah, the gack. The name's Vex Longarmo. I'm a corporate attorney for Procyon Planetary Properties. Sorry you had to come all the way out here. But really, this is all just a misunderstanding. We have the situation under control.
Considering there was a death on the resort, the GAC has grounds to investigate. This will be a non-invasive, routine investigation, I assure you.
Of course. I don't know why it would be anything but. Which is why I'm sure you'll have no problem signing these non-disclosure agreements.
We're here under military orders, ma'am.
Why would we need to sign an NDA? Are you guys hiding something sketchy in this operation? Like slave labor or something?
My thoughts exactly.
Oh, or lizard people.
Actually, that's insulting to the lizard people of Muscabar 5. Anyway, of course not. We just have a reputation to protect. I don't expect you to run into anything nasty. It's typical procedure.
I don't know, Vex. Maybe we should just let them do their job. You're almost asking for them to come back with a search warrant. Look, someone died. I just want the problem solved.
Trust me, Miss Longarmo. We mean no harm to your company's property. We just have no authorization to sign an NDA.
Well, fine, but I'll be keeping an eye on you.
Well, that's cleared up. Captain, I'd be happy to direct your crew to the site of the incident.
Of course. We'd also like to look at the body before going out to survey the scene.
Oh, the body. Right. Well, you see, it's still at the scene of the incident.
You just left the body. How long ago did this happen?
Only a day ago.
I'm confused. Is it typical of your species to leave corpses where they lie?
Switch.
No, sorry, Captain, but she's right. Why wasn't the body moved?
It's more of a question of how to move it. Spatula? Jaws of life? 3 hours with some steel wool? We were stumped.
You slimy
Crew, stand down. I appreciate your moral concern, but we have an investigation to proceed with.
Fine.
Gorgis leads the Banshee crew out of his office into a sterile hallway where a box-shaped black and white shuttle waits, driven by a masked guard.
This shuttle will take you to the scene. It's outside the normal bounds of our resort, and we won't have any guests or staff out there, so be careful.
You're not coming with us?
It ain't my place to be. Got a mountain of paperwork on my back with this mess, but if you run into any problems, I could find a minute. Oh, and, yeah, thanks for coming out. Between you and me, I know Vex is kind of a bitch, but I appreciate your help. I just want to keep this place up and running, you know? Anyway, good luck, Banshee crew.
Katie, the lead scriptwriter, co-creator, and co-producer of TENDRIL, the Banshee Chronicles. I wanted to thank you all from the very bottom of my heart and from the hearts of all of the cast and creators for choosing to give our first episode a listen. Right now, it means the world to us that anyone would want to listen to our little sci-fi adventure podcast, so thank you for giving us a chance. I also wanted to give you some information on how to support us. TENDRIL is a completely independent production, so word of mouth goes a long way for us. If you have any friends or family you think would like TENDRIL, please tell them about us. We've jumped on the Twitter train specifically to interact with you, so tweet us at TENDRIL Podcast and give me something to do on my days off. Furthermore, we've set up a Patreon fund at patreon.com/TENDRIL Podcast. The goal for our Patreon is to use it to cover our hosting costs and pay our voice actors for the hard work they do for our project. If you do choose to support us through Patreon, we will have some neat behind-the-scenes perks like marked up episode scripts, short stories, a patron-only creative process podcast, and some AMA opportunities for the creators and characters, and much more. Of course, this is completely optional, but even $1 a month would help us cover our out-of-pocket costs to bring this story directly to your ears. And just so you know, rating our podcast on iTunes or whatever platform you're listening through helps us a ton. If you leave us a nice review, we're going to begin doing a segment during this ad break where I will put you in the world of Tendril as a criminal doing a crime, and you will be on Tendril News. Curious about what that sounds like? Leave us a review and you'll find out. But that's enough of me talking. Back to the story. Enjoy!
The crew's shuttle comes upon a familiar scene. Here is the area outside the barrier of the Zingar X Resort's approved blast boarding course. As we see it now, it is deathly calm. The volcanic activity has taken a pause, and ash-like snow has started to fall.
I thought resort guests weren't allowed out here.
But sure enough, a small crowd has gathered around the body of Thrush Meeblix, which has started to sprout sickly green mushrooms. A Cerbadian woman, a small fuzzy alien who looks like a teddy bear with crab appendages, squats over the body with a notepad in one claw and a test tube in the other. A trio of Spacnarians, like Thrush, are holding vigil, right arms crossed over their chests, thumbs and pinkies extended from their fists.
Are they throwing the Shaka sign?
What's that?
I didn't know you were an expert on Spacnarians.
The shuttle draws in close, coming to a stop only a few feet away from the body. The door hisses open, and the Banshee crew disembarks. It's quiet, morose. The meteor sits nearby, a distance from the body, still steaming. The air is oppressively hot, reeking of burnt rock and flesh.
What's going on here?
The Cerbadian straightens up from her spot above Thrush's body. She corks off the test tube she's holding, which contains a gelatinous green substance, and removes her gloves.
I'm sampling bits of this green discharge oozing from the orifices of this body, and I'm hoping to study it. And I'm actually authorized to be here. Dr. Bingo Symbulon of Sorbidos, it's a pleasure. Hopefully you're the resort security police. I don't have a clue what these goofballs over there are doing, and they are making me uncomfortable.
We're holding a vigil for our fallen radical. Poor Thrush. Who are you, anyway?
We're just some meteor hobbyists interested in the phenomenon that killed your friend. I'm Kronist. This is Switch and Cade. Did you see it happen?
Nuh-uh. But that would have been sick! Right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, don't let us get in the way of your hobbying. We were just about to dip anyway. This chick over here is ganking our style.
Did I hear that right? You guys are meteor specialists?
Just hobbyists, right, guys?
Yes, hobbyists. Well, before you three leave, could I ask your names? For my travel journal.
Alright, dude, are you gonna publish it?
I'm Boosh. This is Sploosh and Dorsey.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Look, sir, I just wanted to ask because I could use a little help from a fellow enthusiast here. See, I brought just a small shuttle out to Zingar X, but it's pretty basic. If you're a hobbyist, do you maybe have a lab on your ship I could borrow? I have a feeling I'll want to inspect this before the sun goes down here. I'm writing a thesis on interplanetary virulent life forms,
yes,
and
we have a lab. We'll let you use it if you're willing to tell us what you know.
I don't know much right now, but I could definitely help you if you were able to look at this specimen under a microscope. See, I'm worried that whatever this is, it spreads.
Like a biological warfare deal?
Oh, man!
Maybe not intentionally. I mean, there are easier ways someone could spread dangerous germs than implanting them in a meteor.
Unless they wanted to hide who they were.
I'm very interested in the nature of this slime, but as a meteor hobbyist, I wanted to look into the rock itself. We heard it was sentient and actually zeroed in on the victim, but it's just a little ways away over there. And there's no goo on it. Is the slime a part of Spacnarian biology?
No way, man. Us Spackies are ick-free.
Actually, I believe that the slime somehow leaked off of the meteor and into Thrush here. So, you see, the slime is relevant to your interests.
Guys?
Is it possible that the presence of this slime is what made the meteor appear to be intelligent in the first place?
Dudes! Highly possible. I've already witnessed the goo trying to move on its own.
Sorry to interrupt, but...
Cade is the first to look, and there he sees Thrush Meeblix, dead Spacnarian walking. Thrush has come to a standing position, where for a few moments he rocks in place. The Banshee crew members angle themselves defensively in front of the civilians. Switch pulls her blaster.
Is this normal for your kind?
No way! Thrush takes a few lurching staggers toward the group. A rancid smell permeates the air, like rotten meat left in the sun for days.
I'll shoot! Don't make another move!
Thrush does not stop. Switch fires a shot into his leg. But it doesn't even faze Thrush. He continues to move forward. Dr. Symbulon moves in front of the crew.
Dr. Symbulon, I recommend that you move behind...
Who are you? The police? You're embarrassing yourself with that blaster. This can be peaceful. Let me handle it. You're not Thrush, are you? You're whatever showed up at that meteor. Are you intelligent? Can you
The monster in Thrush's body makes a violent lunge toward Dr. Mango Symbulon, grabbing her throat and tackling her to the ground. Cade is the closest. He looks around wildly, then jumps into the fray.
Stop that! You are contagious!
He wrestles Thrush off of Dr. Symbulon, yanking the oozing corpse back by the shirt still on its body. The monster whirls on him, lifting him by the throat. Cade gapes in horror. The monster's eyes are black, any semblance of intelligence or empathy gone. Cade writhes and struggles to breathe. The edges of his vision go red.
Not so fast.
Kronist approaches the monster from behind and grabs its head with his tentacles, snapping the neck to the left. The head comes off like the cap of a mushroom.
Yes!
The body slumps to the ground. Gooey strands of fungus like stringy pumpkin guts stretching out from head to neck. Cade catches his breath, holding the sides of his head, hyperventilating. In Kronist's grip, slimy black mushrooms splorch out from where Thrush's brain would be, spattering onto the ground. Kronist drops the head in the pile of fungus, relatively undisturbed.
Do you still have that sample? Do you think you can find out the nature of this thing?
I do, yeah. Okay, let's do this.
That was exciting and all, but we're gonna dip. We can honor Thrush in another way, right, guys? Smell you later, dudes!
As the Spacnarians take their leave on their humming hoverboards, the Banshee crew escorts Dr. Symbulon onto the shuttle.
Hey, Captain, can I ask a question? Are we allowed to be, scared? Because I'm moderately scared. They did the stress tests and all, and I passed after a few tries, but wow, that thing is gross and bad, and I'm gonna...
Get yourself together, Cade.
Captain? He means you?
I can explain on the ship. Right now, what's most important is to find out what that thing was.
I have a feeling there's something the owner of the resort isn't telling us.
My thoughts exactly. Excuse me. Driver, can you take us back to the docking bay?
Just as the shuttle door moves to shut, a silvery blue streak bolts in and rams Kronist right in the stomach. The hoverboard QN-10 screams in anger as Kronist doubles over.
You kill my master!
TENDRIL, the Banshee Chronicles, is written by Kaitlyn Radel and Ryan Borses. TENDRIL is created by Kaitlyn Radel, Ryan Borses, Taylor Finneran, and Bryan Finneran. The theme song is written by Bryan Finneran, and all additional music is written by Ryan Borses. The episode you heard today features Ryan Borses as the narrator, QN10, Gorgis Kiyudi, and Boosh. Kaitlyn Radel as Switch and Dorsey. Eric Mayo as Cade Floodry and Thrush Meeblix. Teron Middleton as Kronist Loknu, Guard, and Sploosh. Diane Mayo as Admiral Deulendrahbl and Dr. Mango Symbulon. And Monique Borses as Llorona and Longarmo. We want to give a huge thanks to our listeners, cast, friends, and family for their continued support and dedication to helping us make this audio drama podcast a reality. Tendril would not be here without you, and we hope we can reward you by releasing episodes far into the future. If you can't get enough of Tendril, visit us at tendrilpodcast.com, where we have our cast bios and episode transcripts. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/tendrilpodcast, where we have really neat rewards such as access to voicecast blooper reels, short stories, scans of marked up first drafts of scripts, creator and character AMAs, a behind-the-scenes monthly podcast where we answer your questions, and much, much more. Thank you!